Hiya, and welcome back to Homecoming Morenatsu Revisited. The game that teaches us that it's okay to reach out to others. It's always okay to talk to someone about your problems. Do not be afraid to reach out. Anyways, let's just hop right in. I totally forgot how intimidating Shun's house is. It's one thing to have traditional Japanese architecture, but those stone arches leading to the door? Not to mention the perfect, almost militaristic trim to the bushes. They really make a statement. I take a second to run a hand through my bangs and smooth down my bushy hair before reaching for the doorbell. I anxiously bounce up and down on my feet. As I begin to wonder if anyone heard the doorbell, I can make out what sounds like the thumping of running feet. Huh? Hiro, what took you so long? I nearly topple over backwards as Shun launches himself at me, flinging his arms around my neck. I have to wrap my arms tightly around his middle in order to stop us both from falling. I needed a quick shower. Oh, your glasses! Shun releases his grip to readjust his skewed glasses, an annoyed look on his face.
I really should get contacts, but I hate having to touch my eyes.
Little Wolf shakes his head before smiling at me.
Never mind that, come on in.
I'm about to take him up on his invitation when his cheeks suddenly go red.
By the way, your shampoo, it smells nice.
I stop, blinking at him in surprise. Oh, thanks. Wait a minute, did you just purposefully smell me? Oh shit, it might be.
Ooh, I'm so excited for this. I mean, for you.
I chuckle softly as I kick off my shoes before following Shun down the dimly lit hallway. Memories resurface as I notice ukiyo-e-styled ocean paintings hanging exactly where I remember them. Voices creep to me from around the corner, the dining room if I remember correctly. As around the corner, I see my friend settled onto mats around the massive wooden dining table. Shun is hunched over a notebook, nibbling at the claw of his thumb on his free hand while he scribbles. Taro is blowing gently over a hot cup of instant ramen. Tatsuki and Tora seem to be arguing over a piece of paper that the dragon is holding. You should use the ass shampoo. Ass shampoo! What the fuck is ass shampoo? No, don't do that, he's sad! He's sad, and he has depression, and he's sad. And he's sad. Tatsuki deserves the brick over the Cheeto. He does! Tatsuki needs to get... Who the fuck is sad? Sotaro is sad. Tatsuki and Tora seem to be arguing over a piece of paper that the dragon is holding. Strange dice are arranged in front of each of them. It seems you didn't die of heat stroke after all. Shin's sharp tongue catches me off guard, causing me to rub the back of my head. Sorry, were you guys waiting long? Shin simply smiles and taps a free spot at the table with his fingers before turning his attention back to his notebook. Wow. Shun wasn't kidding about the snacks either. A small pyramid of instant ramen cups stands next to 3 large bottles of cola, 2 jumbo-sized bags of potato chips, and several stacks of fruit cookies. I was trying to watch my weight, too. Oh, come on. I'm not trying to give you a hard time, dude. Just tell me who the lucky lady is and I'll lay off. My attention turns to Tora and Tatsuki. The dragon glares at Tora defensively. Nah, I've told you already. I just drew the character myself. Why is that so hard to believe? Have you seen the size of your hands? There's no way you drew that yourself. Oh, hey there, hero. As Torihiko waves to me, Tatsuki glances in my direction and smiles. Good timing, Hiroyuki. I was about to grab my keys and drive over to get you. An uncomfortable expression makes its way to the tiger's face. Yeah, maybe it was better that you walked. At least I have a ride, schoolboy! Tatsuki's defensive response gets a smirk from Tora, and he puts a hand on his hip, puffing out his chest. You're absolutely right, big guy. I wish I could cruise around in a death trap, too.
Well,
I sit down and cross my legs under the table, gazing longingly at the snacks in front of me. Oh, Mr. Nishimura, you shouldn't put one of the pork ones aside for you. Taro glances over at Torihiko and Tatsuki before reaching under the table, pulls out a rather hefty-sized ramen cup from his lap. He said they'd go fast and to snag you one. He slides it across the table and into my hands. I quickly hide the cup in my lap just as he did. Look over at him and give him a grateful smile. I owe you one, Taro. These are like gold around here.
Okay, guys, I got more hot water going. Did anyone explain the game to Hiro?
As Shin passes by me to his corner of the table, he gently places a small bottle into my lap. My eyes widen as I see the label. Only the best of friends remember to bring you the soy sauce. I love this guy right now! Hiroyuki hasn't played Night Watch before. Wouldn't exactly call this game beginner-friendly. I gulp at the Black Cat's choice of words, this sounding like it must be a very difficult game.
Oh, it'll be fine.
Shun clasps his hands together and peeks over his glasses at me, giving his best puppy dog eyes.
Trust me, Hiro. You're gonna love it.
I give a nervous chuckle and rub the back of my head. Okay! Shin gives a shrug and returns his attention to his notebook. Alright, let's get this out of the way then, I guess. Okay, so one more time. What exactly does the luck stat do in battles?
If you have a weapon with a status effect, you get an extra roll, which coincides with your luck stat. If the number you roll is higher than an enemy's resistance...
Shun smiles excitedly, then continues his explanation.
You can bleed your opponent to death.
Or poison him. Or whatever other status you have with your weapon. Not painful enough, if you ask me. I choke back a laugh when Shin speaks up. To be honest, I wasn't exactly expecting something like that from him. Shun gives a laugh, his tail swishing excitedly.
You'll get the hang of it by watching Shin. He's been running a build that is centered around luck anyway.
Actually, Shin, for a character that has so little strength, he sure is ripped. You have a reason for that? Shin puts his pen down and brings his hands into a ball under his chin. With a blank expression, he just stares silently at Torihiko. It's an uncomfortable sight to behold. Yeah, never mind, forget I asked. The tiger gives a shrug. My curiosity gets the better of me. What's he talking about? Shin smiles at me before lifting up his notebook. My original character, Beauclair. I made him specifically for this campaign. Oh my god, I actually want to talk about it. So, I have a D&D character. He's my only one, and he is fucking insane. Let me pull him up. I so bad want to talk about this. My first character was an orc named Dave. This is, let me go to my character sheets real quick. This one's name is also Dave. I am not creative with names. He is a halfling cleric. Is everyone Dave? That is my only character. I can't fucking remember. No, he is... the way I did his personality is he is 3 apples high. That is his height. He is tiny. He is, like I said, he is a halfling. He is tiny. And he is a being of pure chaos. Hi, Dave. I'm Dave. His entire his alignment is if I'm not mistaken, chaotic neutral. A halfling. Yeah, he's a halfling. Why not call him Tiny? Because his name's Dave. He has the most normal name and he does the most not normal personality. He made a deadly gas. I had to make a deadly gas and then rob a bank. That should tell you exactly what he's like. Shin flips through his notebooks before turning it for me to see. Widen my eyes as I behold a rather large and menacing cat warrior. Oh no, he just took like he mixed the shit that's under the sink. He is frozen mid-swing with one of the jagged hatchets in his hands. Wow, that's very well drawn. How long did it take you to do it? Oh, actually... He glances over at Tatsuki before gesturing towards him. Tatsuki drew this up for me. He did Shun and Sotaro's characters too. For real? Dude, what gives? You mean theirs but not mine? Tatsuki's expression shows discomfort. He looks away slightly. Well, you already drew yours up. I guess. But how? When did you learn to... Ugh, that explains the breasts on Sotaro's character. Tora gives an exasperated sigh. Never mind, let's just play. I glance over at Taru, curious to see his character. He shrugs and holds up his notebook for me to see. A female wolf is depicted in pencil, her body clad in very low-cut gray dress. Dark leather boots are barely visible under the hem. Her left hand seems to have erupted into a colorless flame, and... Well, Torihiko wasn't kidding about her breasts. I'm guessing mages don't experience back problems? They don't, apparently. Tora buries his face into one of his hands, using his free hand to hold up his own notebook. I see a crudely drawn stick figure beside a set of stats. My lips tug into a slight smile at the sight. I must admit, it is a rather cute depiction of a dragon. Or is it a winged alligator? It's really hard to tell. Glance at the name. Arashi, the Rogue. Sounds interesting. The font looks more like a street graffiti than a warrior's template, but it still looks good. Finally, I give an expectant look to Tatsuki. What do you have, Tatsuki? Tatsuki coughs into his hand once and wordlessly holds up his notebook. If any character deserves to be in a movie, it's this one. On the sheet is a thin tiger man dressed in a light green tunic, with pale brown boots reaching up to his calves. Okay, Link from The Legend of Zelda. A longbow is carried over his shoulder, alongside a quiver of red feathered arrows. Okay, Link from Breath of the Wild. Torihiko with melons. He's got shoulder boulders. Oh, thank you for the raid, Axel. Hiya, welcome. Torihiko has shoulder boulders now. They are massive. Bro drew Link and called it a day. He did. The most notable figure in the picture, though, is a massive hawk. Is its name Mike? Its wings are frozen in an outstretched flight position, touching down onto the hunter's outstretched forearm. I kind of just slapped this together. My defense, I was a little drunk when I made it. An idea comes to mind and I glance over at Taro. Mouthing a request to him, he responds with a smile before tearing a sheet of paper out for me and sliding it across the table. Do you think you could make one for me, Tatsuki? The dragon gives me a nervous smile before reaching for the paper. Sure, I mean, I can try. What would you like? I think for a few moments, weighing up my options. The characters all look impressive, especially the fighters. I could see myself choosing a fighter class. Then again, I noticed that there are no dedicated healers. Make me cool like a barbarian, or do you guys need a healer? Okay, bye, Raj. Healer arrow. We're gonna be Mercy. We're Mercy now. If there's one thing I remember vividly about my countless days of playing video games with Shun, it's that healers are essential to any successful party. In fact, when we play those old multiplayer RPGs, I always don the white robes. I think I should be the healer. Shun and Taro smile at me.
Oh, nice. We needed someone with decent white magic.
Yeah, it'd be nice to not have to spend all my gold on healing potions for these guys. Taro glances over at Tora and Tatsuki, who both look away sheepishly. Not to mention the resurrection services. I've died at least 6 times already. Tatsuki scratches the back of his head, a blush appearing on his face. 8 for me, including my hawk, Mike. Torihiko glances over at the dragon and snorts. I keep telling you, man, fighting hordes by yourself isn't worth the experience if you're just going to die. Man, it's called being a man. Gust understands that, and he's a bird. Anyway, how big do you want your breasts to be? The hawk's name is Dave. I'm gonna put what the hawk's name is. It's not canon at all. Mess. Okay. Mike Hawk. Oh god, I should not have said that. I'm in a good mood right now, and I want to keep that. Anyway, how big do you want your breasts to be? Oh, I don't think I want to be a girl. Hawk Tua.
Alright, now that we have that out of the way...
As Shun clears his throat and clicks his penny, the others scoot in closer and fall silent. I can honestly feel the tension right now, and it's telling me Shun must only run difficult campaigns.
Last time we left off, the group was traveling to the capital of the dead, Relie.
We're secretly Rouge the Bat.
The rumors are that this is the burial site of Amon the Vile, and his offspring all plan to resurrect him to scorch the realm once again. As our brave party paddles across the stagnant and foggy waters towards Relaya, they spot a boat in the distance docked to a rotting pier. Another hero has emerged from the darkness and has been venturing to Relaya with nothing but the flames of vengeance lighting their way.
Shun smiles and peeks over his glasses at me. Makes a motion with his hand, although I don't recognize it. Taro waves at me to get my attention before waving his pen at me in a theatrical gesture. Oh! I chuckle as the gesture finally clicks. Lifting the ballpoint pen above my head like a sword, I lock eyes with Shun. Suddenly, the wolf's expression changes, a serious look on his face.
The children of Amon have gathered to wake their father. There's no telling what horrors you will face, and you are likely to get very closely acquainted with death. Before you enter the crypt of Amon, you must leave your sanity at the door. Brave healer, do you accept your fate no matter the consequences?
Our ass's name is Dave. We can accept the consequences. I feel everyone's eyes on me, which sends a chill down my spine. Is this really just a game? Everyone is being so serious. Yeah, I'm doing good. I do. For a few moments, nobody says a word. I feel a bit silly holding this pen up in one hand and a bag of chips in the other, but I don't dare stop. Nah, that's Tatsuki's bird's name. Tatsuki's bird's name is Mike. Our name is Dave. Gonna change that. Our name is Dave Ment. If you get the joke, then you get the joke. I feel a bit silly holding this pen up in one hand and a bag of chips in the other, but I don't dare stop.
Okay, hero, are you ready for your first battle?
What? Shun grins wildly at me.
The party of heroes have only just arrived to the banks of Relaya. You'll have to survive the demon horde until they arrive to assist you.
I flatten my ears against my head. By myself? Shin smiles over at me and nods. Good luck. Torihiko bursts into laughter. Shun did the exact same thing to me when I first joined. I look over at Tatsuki, who simply rubs the back of his head. That's how I first died in this game, too. Taro gives me a reassuring smile and flashes a thumbs up. Don't worry, Mr. Nishimura. I doubt Shun will kill you this early on. I bury my face into my hands and shake my head. Yeah, that really does much for my confidence. I look over at Shun and sigh. Okay, what's first? Shun glances down at his notebook and smiles to himself. I could run, fight, negotiate. we rolling the dice quickly or praying to the dice gods? Cheeto. RNGesus. Yes. I decided it's best to play it safe. You'll probably get at least.
Yeah, that's... Could you pass me some soda? No damage on you, hero.
Let's go gambling. Oh no. Smiling, pass Shun a bottle of soda. While he's busy pouring some into a cup, Taro reaches across the table to get my attention. An excited and confident expression is on his face. Alright, try the haste spell next. Before I can even look at my sheet, I notice Tora staring at Taro in confusion. Couldn't you just nuke her right now? Why wait? Glance back at the line for his opinion. He simply shakes his head. Trust me, this will be awesome! With a shrug, I look down at my sheet, tracing a claw down the list. Finally, I notice haste listed with its mana cost. That's pretty costly. Are you sure about this, Taro? Gives a soft chuckle, and as I look back at him, I see his tail swishing in anticipation. Yeah, I've always wanted to try this combination, but the spells aren't in my character class. If this works, it'll put out some serious damage. Okay, let's do it! I decide it's worth trying what he's suggesting. Pick up the dice and roll. 15. Alright. I jump as Taro suddenly slams his hands on the table and sits upright. After this next turn, immediately do the reflect spell. Shun gives another smirk, picking up the dice.
You're betting on Naama not being able to get a strike in?
The wolf reaches for another cookie before rolling.
Huh, 5. Naama fails to connect.
He glances back up at me, adjusting his glasses, a toothy grin showing.
Go ahead, hero. Show me what you've got.
He gives me a wink before munching on the cookie in his hand. Take a breath and glance over at Tora and Tatsuki. Both of them look about as nervous as I feel. I guess this gamble is more serious than I thought. I pick up the dice and roll. My eyes widen and a grin comes to my face. 18! Once again, Taro enthusiastically hits the table, which does wonders for my skittish fox reflexes. Torihiko and Tatsuki can only give out choked out gasps. You got this! Cast the Kua spell! I scratch the back of my head in confusion. But isn't my turn over?
Actually...
Shun suddenly interrupts, and I'm amazed I can understand him since he's still chewing on his cookie. Glance over at him, watching as he swallows before continuing.
Haste makes you move twice per turn. The effect only lasts 3 turns, though.
Taro grins, clasping his hands together. Okay, Mr. Nishimura, cast Kua on yourself. Shin suddenly perks up, looking over at Taro with interest. Oh, I see what you're doing. If Hiroyuki had been with us this whole campaign, you would have had his character completely broken. Broken? I let my gaze dart between Shin and Taro, hoping for an answer. Torihiko gives a soft chuckle and winks at me. He's saying that you'd be overpowered with that strategy. I mean, extremely overpowered. Glance back down on my character sheet. Considering the mana cost so far, I'm having a hard time believing that. Well, if you're sure. Once again, I pick up the dice and roll. 16. Shun lets out his laugh of disbelief.
Yeah, that's triple damage. Naama doesn't stand a chance.
She won't be roasting my bird again anytime soon. Tatsuki cheers at my victory, although I can't help feeling suspicious. Glance over at Shun for answers. Just like that? What's the catch? As the little wolf tries to calm himself down, Shin glances over at me and smiles a little wider. It's a little trick that healers can do. If you cast Reflect on yourself, any magic spell cast at you will bounce back to the caster. I blink as I hear Shun take a deep breath and exhale. Seems like he's managed to compose himself.
But if the caster is an ally, the spell is bounced back at the enemy with double the impact. Nah, Naama and her kind are still weak to white magic in general, so you'd have won without that strategy.
An embarrassed blush comes to Taro's face, and he looks down at the floor. Sorry, I was just excited. Nobody ever wants to play the healer, so I never got to try this with my own magic. Torihiko smiles but shakes his head. So, from what I understand, all the fights from now on will just be Hiroyuki and Sotaro playing Firebomb Dodgeball with one another. That about right? Look of alarm suddenly shows on Tatsuki's face. But wait, that means Hiroyuki will always have the killing blow. He's going to get the majority of the loot! Hey, wait a minute! Shun clears his throat loudly, interrupting Tora's protest.
Anyway, moving on. Realizing she's been outmatched, Naama tosses her sword to the side and races back behind the doors of the tower.
An annoyed expression makes its way to Shin's face. Ugh, she ran off from the last 3 fights we had with her family. Well, the music is nice enough, I suppose. Are you almost done, dude? I'm getting bored here. Torihiko's loud voice interrupts Shin's review. Seems his conversation with Tatsuki has become a little more energetic. The dragon snorts before grinning at Tora. I told you let me bring a pop sake. We would be having way more fun right now. Ugh, that stuff makes my stomach hurt. The two of them continue their discussion at a more reasonable volume. Go to XP farm with Taro and just win without everybody else. Oh, that'd be awful. That would be horrible. That'd be horrible. We should do it. Just, Sotro, just lift us up by the legs and just swing us at people. We'll just go for it. It'd be amazing. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing because, like, just hear me out. Just hear me out. We do all that, and then Sotaro's character lifts us up by the legs and just swings us around. Maybe throws us a couple times. Letting everyone else die? Well, not Tatsuki, probably. The two of them continue their discussion at a more reasonable volume. With an annoyed look on his face, Shin sighs and continues. Anyway, it's by pure chance that I even knew about this game. Back in my old school. Well, if I were a dead guy... Old god. Shin interrupts, correcting Torihiko before he can proceed any further with his thought. Tora simply nods before continuing. If I were a dead old god, I'm sure my resting place would be underneath the tower. A smile breaks out across Tatsuki's face, the dragon turning to face me. What do you think, Hiroyuki? We'll follow your lead. He reaches across and places a hand on my shoulder, giving it a gentle squeeze of encouragement. I weigh up the options, but the idea of more combat excites me. Let's go down below. I want to fight some more. My enthusiastic reply gets a smile from everyone. Tora grins widely as he taps his drink cup down on the table in a symbolic cheer. Looks like you've developed a taste for it, hero. Want to lead the way? You'll get a bigger share of the experience points, right, Shun? Shun opens his mouth as if to talk, but a sudden thought seems to snatch the words away before he can form them. Leans back from the table and taps the blunt end of his pen on his notebook.
Yeah, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Shin gives an annoyed sigh and shakes his head. The monsters that are down there are bound to be very high-leveled. Putting Hiroyuki in front would be signing his death certificate. My excitement fades at Shin's words. I'm not sure I like the sound of that. Torihiko frowns, balling his hands into fists. You don't know that? After all, he beat a boss character in his first fight. Narrowing his eyes, Shin shakes his head. Yes, and that is what we in the real world call luck. There's a big reason why you should not necessarily test it. Shin turns to me and drops his voice, but keeps his eyes on my notebook where my stats are listed. If you really want to lead, more power to you. But I do think you ought to just stay behind me, just until you're a few levels stronger. To be honest, he does have a point, but at the same time, the thrill of the fight is hard to pass up. Are we gonna scream? Are we gonna run in screaming and possibly exit this world the same way we came in? Which is covered in blood and screaming, or are we gonna play it safe? Oh no! We the healer. Hang on, I'm gonna do a poll because this is genuinely hilarious. Oh my god. Oh god. Oh god. Gonna check something while this plays out. Oh my god. I guess we're just gonna run in there, find a random monster, shove our fist into its ass, and then use it as a sock puppet. Monster sock puppet? Monster sock puppet! Monster sock puppet. Monster sock puppet. I understand what Shin is worried about, but I'm starting to get the hang of this. I've got this. How tough can it really be? Shin's frown returns and he shakes his head. You've never seen the stats that Shun puts on his hordes. But if you're certain... The monster did what to the puppet? I'll tell you what happened. Okay, so we're now the monster. We're now the monster. We're just gonna do that once. And they're just gonna run away. We're just gonna run the fuck away after they see what we did to their poor comrade. We shoved our entire arm up the monster's ass and then used it as a sock puppet. But if you're certain, Tora probably thumps a fist into his chest. That's what I'm talking about! Don't worry, dude, I'll cover you. Obviously, we're gonna ask for their consent first. Obviously, we're going to. We're just gonna walk up and be like, Hi, monster. Do you mind if I turn you into a puppet? Don't worry, dude, I'll cover you.
The party has chosen to venture beneath the tower. There isn't much light aside from the random torches lit and left to burn by Amon's children.
So, we'll be lost within 5 minutes. Tatsuki cringes as he says what's on his mind. Torihiko frowns and nods. I'm getting jumped by everything but the floor.
It's called dungeon crawling for a reason, you know. Where do you think it began?
A smile comes over to Taro's face as he fiddles with his dice. That's kinda Shun's thing, Mr. Nishimura. These guys usually don't last very long.
Anyway, let's continue.
Give him coffee for the better ending.
The party descends down a dusty stone staircase. The deeper they go, the quieter everything seems. Soon the only breaths they can hear are their own heartbeats and each other's breaths. You approach the tombs of the old gods. Ancient titans of whom the great heroes of ages past gave their lives to seal away.
I lean closer to Torihiko again and whisper under my breath. Has Shun been playing those spirit games or whatever they're called? Once more, Shun is too busy reading from his scrawlings to notice our little conversation.
After what seems like hours, you finally reach the bottom. A doorway leads to the burial chambers, and in the far corner rests a rotting, blood-stained chest.
The tiger gives a small nod and rubs the back of his head. Yeah, though I don't know how he has the patience for them. Sitting upright, Tora raises a hand, giving a smug grin. I call dibs on the loot! Shin gives a sudden jerk before glaring daggers at the tiger. Don't open it, you fool! Torihiko frowns, glaring back at Shin. A feeling of unease washes over me. Can't quite put my finger on it, but something seems familiar about the scenario. Tora, maybe you shouldn't open it. Oh no, I call dibs. That chest is mine. He turns to face Shun, his confident grin returning. I'm opening the chest, pipsqueak. I can see the narrowed eyes from the little wolf. Rather than get angry, a wide grin comes to his face. Shun wags his tail, eyes gleaming mischievously. I suddenly realize exactly what is about to happen.
You lose 50 health points.
The shock that displays on Tora's face is priceless. He gapes over at Shun in confusion. Why? It's a mimic. Shin speaks up, confirming my hypothesis. Tora's still showing a confused expression. What the hell is a mimic? Taro gives Tora a sympathetic whine. It's a shapeshifter that looks like a treasure chest. You try to open it, the creature will open its mouth and clamp onto you. Shun nods, his tail still wagging happily.
Yep, you need to roll a 13 or higher to escape its bite. Are you ready?
With a gulp, Torihiko picks up his dice and nods. Yeah, let's do it! I can see the hope within Tora's eyes as he rolls, his dice bouncing across his notebook. Damn it! The result is obvious. His 7 is nowhere near high enough to escape.
That's 100 points of health gone now.
100?! Poor Tora looks like his eyes are about to bug out of his head. Taro gives another sympathetic whine. Every failed roll will double its bite damage. Get it off me! The tiger looks pleadingly at Tatsuki before quickly snatching up the dragon's dice and shoving it into his hands. Surprised, Tatsuki muddles a bit before nodding. Right, yeah, I gotcha. Shun, still clearly enjoying himself, looks over at Tatsuki, giving the dragon a wide grin.
No need to roll twice. Once for your actual damage and second time to determine whether you hit the Mimic or Torihiko.
What? It's obvious that Tora wasn't expecting that. He glares over at Tatsuki. I swear, dude, if you kill me, I'm gonna kill you! Tatsuki gulps before giving the tiger an assuring nod. Okay, just give me a second. Holding his breath, he rolls his dice. That's a 12. As Tatsuki picks up his dice, everyone leans in, anxiously awaiting his next roll. He gingerly gives it a shake as if he was afraid to anger it. The moment of truth arrives and he rolls. 14! Before we can celebrate, Shin's expression suddenly hardens. Torihiko, retreat on your next roll. Sotro, you're with me. Hiroyuki. He turns to look at me and I can't help but shiver. I've never heard this kind of tone in Shin's voice before. It's like someone from a superhero film has overtaken my friend's body. Stay behind until we've softened it up. I want you to finish it off. I nod, giving a nervous gulp. Leave it to me! Shun stops wagging his tail and scribbles a few things onto his notebook. A few moments later, he looks back up at us.
Alright, Ryudo the Hunter has successfully freed Arashi from the jaws of the Mimic. It loses 25% of its total health.
Shin looks over at his notes briefly, then glances back up at Shun. I'll roll for Gutting Slice. Swiftly picks up his dice and rolls it. 10. Shun nods, writing a few more notes before giving a satisfied hum.
Mimic is now affected by the bleed status and will lose 20 points of health per turn.
Taro's ears perk up and he sits fully upright. Now roll for Infection! He clears his throat to catch my attention before leaning in to whisper an explanation to me. Infection chooses one status ailment at random and doubles it. The lion picks up his dice and eagerly rolls it. 15! Yes! Shun smiles and nods, adjusting his notes to update the information.
Bleed damage has increased to 40 points of health per turn.
He turns to me, giving a happy chuckle.
Okay, Hero, it's your turn.
I scoop up the dice before looking over at Shin. The cat just nods back expectantly. Just stay back for now. Looking back over at Shun, I hold up the dice. What do I need to roll to guard? The wolf looks at his notes, seeming to be doing calculations in his mind. After a few moments, he glances back in my direction.
Anything higher than a 5.
Armed with this information, I take a breath and roll the dice. Alright, a 9!
Okay, the Mimic has lost its ambush grapple, so now everyone must roll for regular initiative.
Everyone takes a turn rolling their dice. Shun rolls a high number, managing to snag the Mimic a position right in the middle. Shun must have noticed my frustration at the Mimic getting a turn before me. Looks at me and gives a reassuring smile.
Don't worry, Hero. It's bleeding pretty well right now. 40 damage per turn is a rather good setup.
My disappointment at my low roll, I completely forgot about the Mimic's status ailment. Its life is on a countdown timer. I roll for Gutting Slice again. Shin's voice breaks me out of my thoughts. The cat rolls his dice. What a disappointing roll. Before I can see what he rolled, he snatches up the dice. No point in stacking up any more ailments, just finish it off. Tatsuki picks up his dice and holds it up. I'll make a triple roll for volley shout. Watch as he rolls, excitement on his face. Alright, that's a first one hit for 30 damage. Damn it, that one missed. Yes, that makes 60 damage. Torihiko picks up his dice and looks over at Shun, remembering what the cat had ordered him to do earlier. I'm going to retreat before I get my ass handed to me again. The tiger rolls the dice. Did you seriously fail a retreat? Shun frowns, looking over at Tora, who gives a soft whimper.
That isn't good at all. The Mimic uses Whirlwind Claws.
Wolf picks up the dice and rolls.
Everyone takes 20 points of damage.
Taro gives yet another wince on Torihiko's behalf. You lucked out. 10 more points and you'd be dead. Tora gives an annoyed groan, burying his face into his hands. Gee, thanks for the update!
The plus side, it just lost 40 points of health due to its bleed.
Shun tries to cheer Tora up before glancing over at Taro, who is eagerly awaiting his turn. I want to roll for Firebomb. He excitedly flings his dice forward, narrowly missing Tora's slumped head in the process. I got a 14! Shun continues to scribble more notes, nodding every few moments.
That's enough to break past its magic defense. One more good strike ought to do it.
Everyone at the table turns to me as I quietly scoop up the dice. Just my luck that I'd be the last to roll here. If I miss, Tora's as good as dead in the next turn. His eyes rest on me as if pleading for me to rescue him. Look at my character sheet one more time before settling on my next move. Or for Kua. I press the dice to my forehead as if praying before quickly releasing it onto my notebook. Oh my god! A wide grin breaks out onto my face. 20! Shun gives a wide grin as I declare my victorious roll.
Nice work, hero. You vanquished the mimic.
Torihiko breathes a huge sigh of relief. Not today, Death! Not today. Tatsuki glances over at Shun, an excited smile on his face. That was a special monster, right? What kind of loot does it have? Shun glances down at his notebook, scratching the top of his head with his pen.
Let's see here.
The wolf flips through a few pages of his notebook before finally finding the one he wanted. With an index finger, he traces down a list of treasures he'd written down for the campaign. A wide grin comes to Shun's face as he finds what he was looking for.
Well. Looks like someone finally obtains the Primal Flame spellbook.
He fixes his gaze squarely on me, his grin widening.
Unfortunately, your class is incompatible with these spells.
Disappointment rushes through me at this news. I was looking forward to earning some great loot, but as luck would have it, I got something I can't even use.
Don't worry, hero. It's still worth quite a bit of gold if you prefer to sell it later. Otherwise, you could always trade it to someone.
I didn't realize I could do that. The question is, should I give it away or keep it for myself? We're just gonna eat it. Nom nom. Yeah, but this is Tatsuki's route. So we obviously gotta give it to Tatsuki. Look over at Tatsuki, a grin breaking out across my face. He seemed to be the most excited about the loot. Maybe he can put it to some use. I think Tatsuki should have it. Tatsuki?! Once again, everyone's surprised shouts I spread out my hands defensively. I need to make myself clear with my choice. My cheeks begin to burn. That volley shot thing was pretty cool. Blush comes to the dragon's face and he gives an embarrassed smile. Yeah, that one's a classic. We chose Sotaro last time. Shin raises an eyebrow and folds his arms against his chest, a look of disbelief on his face. You're serious about this? You do realize that this is a spell book that you're going to give to a hunter class? Hey, I'll have you know that Ryota the Hunter is an avid reader. I've not sold any of the books I've looted. As Tatsuki tries to defend himself from Shin's onslaught, Cat looks like he's about to suffer an aneurysm. But all that gold, you can't even... Cutting himself off, Shin starts massaging the bridge of his nose in an attempt to silence and console himself. He exhales, his facial expression changing as he turns to Shun, giving a forced smile. Let's continue, shall we? I smile at Tatsuki and give him a thumbs up. He blushes and mouths back a silent thank you before reaching over to grab a soda bottle to refill his cup. And this is how we die. Tatsuki, I've got you covered. Sorry, Tora. I love the trap. Oh, hiya. Alright, I'm going to... Wait! We all jump as Taro suddenly calls out. He holds out his notebook excitedly. You should run for this, Mr. Ujima. The lion flicks a few pages in his notebook before sliding it down the table for Toro to read. I can see him mouthing the words on the paper, but the expression on his face tells me he's unsure of them. Is this a real thing? I've never heard of warrior skills using magic points. A surprised expression comes to Shun's face, which quickly turns to one of annoyance.
Hold on, what?
Taro nods, looking over in Shun's direction, his tail excitedly flicking behind him. It's called Mage Masher. It's something I came up with a year or two ago. Basically, a warrior-type character can use it to stop a magic user from casting for one turn, in exchange for all of their magic points. Must admit, it sounds like a pretty cool idea, though. Judging from Shun's annoyed frown, he doesn't seem to think so.
But don't completely break the game! Everyone just keep throwing elixirs at Torihiko!
Raising his hands up in front of him, the lion shakes his head. No, it only targets one enemy at a time. Shun gives a deep sigh, shaking his own head in disagreement.
Any boss character based around magic will just immediately go into the trash!
Shin continues tapping on his notebook, but stares up at Taro. I will have to agree with Shun. I'm not sure I'd like how the game would have to be rebalanced. A slight smile comes to Torihiko's otherwise uncertain expression, and he gently rubs the back of his head. I don't know, guys, this could be cool. Like, what if I could only use it once a session? Suddenly he stares over at me. Any trace of his look of uncertainty is gone, replaced with his usual warm smile. What do you think, hero? You're the guest of honor, after all. I gulp as the other four shift their glances towards me. All I can see is expectation. 100 million yen question is... Here's the thing. I am horrible at video games. I am horrible at them. It took me 6 hours to beat the fucking tutorial boss in Elden Ring. 6 hours. Six. Because I'm fucking blind, apparently. And after I got out of the tutorial area and I was in the overworld, I had no clue what the fuck to do. I did not know what to do. I am horrible at video games. I am bad at them. Wait, what's Tatsuki's stance on this? I got my ass handed to me by the thing patrolling the area. I got my ass handed to me. Then we're going with rules are rules. Please, 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 please.
18!
Look of shock that comes to Tatsuki's face is priceless. Shun simply gives a wide grin.
The flames engulf Ryudo, burning his body to ashes in mere seconds.
Tatsuki gives Torihiko a pleading look. Avenge me! He flails dramatically before dropping to the floor. A shocked expression makes its way to Tora's face. I told you to retreat, now look at you, you're hamburger meat! He glances down at the floor where Tatsuki is laying. You rarely see the big oaf over the snack-covered table.
What am I, a tasty burger?
A smirk creeps onto my face as I attempt to hold back a laugh. What a silly dragon. Torihiko simply gives a shrug and frowns. If that's worth dying for, then sure. As Torihiko sits back down, he looks up from his notebook. Shin looks up from his notebook. Tara does the same, both of them giving looks of sheer determination. You must be low on energy. We're not out of the woods yet. I just need one more spell. I'll blast a hole through its head. Glancing up from his notes, Shun frowns, fiddling nervously with his glasses.
Guys, be careful. You have barely any health left.
Shin and Taro wince, but they know what we all know. It's true, the fight has reached its climax, but nobody is in any shape to see through to the end. Tatsuki's character is dead and Torihiko's was forced to retreat.
Ah!
A crowd as an idea comes to mind, causing everyone to jump. Tatsuki quickly sits upright. I have an idea. Would it be possible for me to... I pause momentarily, trying to think of how to word my intentions. Never really been the type to read rulebooks, especially not those concerning anything less than an 8,000 yen video game. Shield someone? Like, take the damage for them? Shun frowns, realizing where I'm going with this. He places his hands down on the table and leans closer to me.
Well, yeah, but you'll take the full damage no matter what. You won't be able to survive the damage.
I shake my head and smile. Slowly, I glance down at the dice. The last person to roll this turn will be me. And so far, I haven't even been able to do so much as tickle Amon. Maybe taking a killing blow for someone right now is the only way to win this. The question is, who do I sacrifice myself for? Okay, but really, Blythe from Elden Ring has no reason being as hot as he is. You did it, man! The wizard babe strikes again!
No, wait, watch the door frame!
Shin looks over at me and gives a cheeky smile. You know, I think I'm glad I wasn't the one to get the killing blow. Which one? Blythe Dating Sim DLC. I would pay money for that. And my soul.
See, I told you.
We're gonna be nice to Shun. I watch as Tatsuki shuffles off towards an old pickup truck. As he reaches it, he slowly moves a hand to his stomach, muttering something under his breath. Can't bear to see him like this, so I rush over to him, resting a hand on his back. The dragon shifts his glance towards me, a pained smile on his face. Hey, hero. Tatsuki suddenly winces, but as he composes himself, his eyes suddenly widen, showing what I can only describe as hope. Hey, your grandparents' house is just down the road, right? If I give you a lift, do you think I could use your bathroom? I blink at Tatsuki's strange request before giving a soft chuckle, nodding and carefully open the passenger side door to his truck, climbing in to make sure to not slam the door just in case it comes loose. Ooh. Tatsuki gives a soft whimper as he clambers into the driver's seat. As he closes the door, he looks over at me. A grateful smile comes to his face. Thank you, Hiroyuki. I return his smile, gently placing a hand on his arm. You're welcome, Tatsuki. His smile is quickly replaced by another wince. The dragon huffs once and squirms in his seat, rubbing a hand on his stomach. Using a free hand, he starts up the truck's engine and shifts it into gear. I make sure to fasten my seatbelt, just in case Tora's earlier comments about Tatsuki's driving weren't merely an exaggeration. I hope I make it. That's awful. Tatsuki takes in a sharp breath, and I can see the moisture that is starting to form on his scales. I tell you to jump out, just assume the worst has happened, okay? His request brings a frown on my face, and I shrug. Are you sure it's not all the sake you drink? Maybe it's wrecked your stomach. My stomach is met with a furrowed brow. He gives a slight shake of his head. That's not it at all. I mean, I haven't had a drink since this morning. I glance down on my lap, balling my hands into fists before relaxing them again. With a sigh, I turn to glance at him again. Isn't there some kind of saying about drinking early, like that it's generally bad for you? Another sharp breath is my response. It's accompanied by the familiar sound of a protesting stomach. An alarmed expression comes to his face. Oh, I hope you're wrong about that. And that's your grandparents' house, right? I glance through the windscreen at a familiar sight. Sure enough, it's a house belonging to my grandparents. As luck would have it, it seems like they're already home from their visit to Kazanari. When I nod, Tatsuki suddenly turns the truck into the driveway, pulling up behind my grandparents' car. Tatsuki desperately opens the door and jumps out. I'll leave the motor on! Quickly unfasten my seatbelt and jump out to follow him. Hey, wait, knock first! We're gonna leave off here tonight. Oh, wait. That would have been bad. Stay safe, have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.